Good evening and thank you for tuning in. My name is Jonah DePasquale. I am hosting this week's Craft Beer Blab. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. This Blab normally is hosted by Gunnar Soros every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gunnar has got some family things he needs to take care of, and in the light of real life things, it is what it is. My name is Jonah DePasquale. You are just tuning in. Thank you so much for joining. I normally co-host Craft Beer Blab. I also run a blab every Thursday at 9 p.m. called Bike Chat, where we chat about all things bike related. So this week's Beer Blab is going to be a little bit of an abridged show. It is holiday week. We are on the cusp of saying goodbye to 2015, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty much ready to call it quits on 2015. There's been some highs, there's been some lows, and well, I don't know about you, but it'd be great to see a fresh new start to the year. So far so good. We have a few folks tuning in. Let's see here. I want to welcome Jennifer Hoverstad. Jennifer Hoverstad, give her a follow at Jen Hoverstad, developing people and brands into everyday influencers. And she also is a co-host of a very cool show called On Tap Unfiltered and O3 Live on Blab, operations at We Are O3 in Raleigh. I'm going to give her a follow. Very cool. I want to appreciate Jennifer for stopping in. And also Selassie. Selassie, I've caught a bunch of his blabs. He's a blab machine. So when you do catch up with him, fasten your seatbelts because he does have a lot of awesome things going on. Give him a follow. It's at Azrael underscore, or excuse me, dash 13, I guess, if I did say that correctly. At any rate, in regards to sharing, if you can be so kind, tweet this out, share this with your friends and followers on Twitter, or as they say, tell a little bird. That would be fantastic. And of course, you can certainly share this out with your Facebook audience. If you do have any questions, it's /Q. Fire it out. Let me know. As I said, Jonah DePasquale with you. Please give me a follow on Twitter. It's at Jonah DePasquale. And again, in lieu of Anello Grande normally hosting this, as I said, he's got some things going on, so he decided to have me jump in. But that is the beauty of live stream. So listen, I want to show you two awesome beers that I have tonight to share with you that are first taste, which is pretty exciting. The first one that I have is Clown Shoes. Clown Shoes Brewing. And this happens to be Galactica. It's a Galactica IPA. Very excited. They're out of Ipswich, Massachusetts. Very cool stuff. Anello actually turned me on to these guys, so I'm really, really excited about that. Definitely check those guys out. They're pretty heavy duty in the social media world. And then also another interesting find. Throughout the holidays, I like to treat myself. I don't know if those of you folks out there that are craft beer lovers, but this happened to catch my eye. This is Arrogant Bastard. Arrogant Bastard has been certainly known for a number of very unique brewing styles. This one actually happens to be a bourbon barrel aged. So I'm very excited about that. I don't know if many of you in the audience have tried the bourbon barrel age. It's interesting, but again, just a little bit of history on myself. I mean, I'm an avid cyclist, do a lot of different activities, trail running, snow sports, that kind of thing. But I also do enjoy craft beer. I do thank Anello for connecting with me. Jennifer, thank you so much for that share. Really appreciate that. Also want to give a shout out, Kim Trumbo. Hey, Kim, host of Generosity Philosophy Podcast, photographer and author of George, the Generous Giraffe. Love that. And contributing writer for Entrepreneur and Good Men Project. Cheers. Oh, wow. That's definitely a follow indeed. Well, thank you so much for tuning. And hey, also, again, if this is your first time, hello, Kim. Hey, also, too, if you do have any questions, it's /Q. Just a a little bit of recap. If you folks are just joining, this is Craft Beer Lab, usually every Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, normally hosted by Gunnar Soros. As I said, I am also the co-host, and I am jumping in. So I think I'll go, grab a beer. That is absolutely right. Again, folks, the two flavors that you had seen me give a taste test, I'll give you guys some time to do that. Grab a cold one and sit back. Also, too, hey, we do have an open seat if anybody is certainly interested to jump in. I am also welcome to any feedback. I'm certainly not a self-proclaimed craft beer expert. Did not sleep at the Holiday Inn Express, but at any rate, thank you so much for coming in. So let's talk about two things. I always find that in craft beer land, I know a lot of times people are like, oh, craft beer this, craft beer that. I don't know, it's expensive. I find, like anything, the best way to do this is to really find your palate or your flavor of the type of beers that you like. Hey, what's going on, Ryan C? Thanks for joining in. Ryan's been in a number of our blabs previously. This is your post 2016 craft beer blab. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. As I said, Gunner's got some personal family things he's taking care of, so I'm just going to be flying solo today, which is not a big deal. And just to recap, if you're watching this on replay, Jonah DiPasquale, Craft Beer Blab, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, tell a friend or share this out on Twitter. And again, gang, for review, the two beers I'm going to be trying out today, this is the first time I've actually had a chance to check it out. It is Clown Shoes Galactica. This is an IPA. Clown Shoes is out of Ipswich, Massachusetts. Super psyched about that. Any of you IPA fans. And then also really excited. Here's one of my holiday treats. This is Arrogant Bastard. This is a bourbon barrel aged. Yeah, very nice. I've only had a couple Clown Shoes. Yeah, I mean the story behind Clown Shoes is actually Ryan Gunner. Actually, he's from Rochester, Minnesota. He'd actually turned me onto it and had done a couple first pours of it, and I was really excited to find that beer locally as well. So that's a great treat here. And I also want to give a big shout out. Hey, Luke, what's going on? News junkie, ham radio operator, Windsor, Ontario. Nice, right up by my hood. Just above Rochester, New York. That's where I'm hailing from. So let's get to this. I did say that I was going to do a first pour. Again, the seat is open. If you guys want, guys and gals want to jump in, please do that. Just got to kind of polish off some of the remnants of something I was trying earlier today. Man, that is good stuff. So let's get to it. I was mentioning earlier your favorite type of beer. One of the things I really encourage doing is trying different beers. I've become sort of pigeonholed into liking specific types of beers. Like for me, I just get kind of a one-track mind. I go out to my favorite packaging store or whatever, and I'm like IPA. Well, one of the cool things about these types of shows, whether you're watching my show or Gunner's show rather, or a number of the shows out there, you're going to find that there's a variety of beers out there that may fit your palate you've not tried before. An interesting point that I do want to make is I do run into folks a lot of times at the beer stores or wherever, and they get this kind of like this apprehensiveness, like, oh, I was going to try that, but I have my favorite go-to. Gang, I think one of the things you have to realize, hey neighbor, what's going on? One of the things you guys have to realize is there's a ton of different type of references out there. There is Untapped, there's Beer Advocate, there's a number of forums out there that will provide very unbiased information on the types of beers you want. That's part of it. The other good aspect of things is a good number of your local restaurants or places like that will have the beers on tap that you can try. Now, I don't know about you, but usually a taster or a pint will help me better determine whether or not I want to invest my time and effort into a beer. But So let's get down to it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with my first pour. This is the Clown Shoes Brewing. This is the Galactica IPA. Very excited. We're gonna crack this open here. I got my awesome Industry 9. I don't know if any of you cyclists out there, big mountain biker, best mountain bike wheels ever, by the way, in case you guys are doing that. And now I know that, again, there have been a number of folks that have been criticizing me on my pour. Last week was a disaster. Rush Miller Foundation, I don't think he's in here yet, thank goodness. But I'll do a little better job this week here. And I know that you got to have the right type of decanter or mug or tool of glass. We did have a really good Blab, probably pre-holiday of the really good gift ideas, and and there's a free plug for Sugar Bush, by the way. This was a really cool kind of a add-on. I was the announcer at the Sugar Bush Grand Prix, which was kind of cool. And at any rate, so there you go. There's your pour. This is the Surly, or excuse me. So this is the Clown Shoes Brewing Galactica, and that's got a pretty good body to it. Pretty big head. Probably a little bit of an aggressive pour. Let me take a little sniff of this here. Smells good. Nice, really good. Not really that hoppy. Again, as I said, I don't know where a lot of you folks stand with your palate, and that was a lot of what I talked about earlier. As I said in some of the previous Blabs, I know folks that have had experience with IPA, they're a little bit more piney, and sometimes they find that that's not something that they do like. So as I said, it's one of those things that is a preference. I think my point to use when I first tried an IPA, I just didn't like it, and I think the big thing about why I didn't like it, I think it was that piney taste. Without question, an acquired taste. Now, again, there's a number of different beers and styles that are well suited to, which is really why we say try different beers. So, this beer absolutely would be something that would pair really well with meats. It would pair well with fish. Again, I'd probably say on an evening out, you probably could have, a few socially without any issues. And again, if you've not had a chance to check them out, again, it's Clown Shoes Brewing. And they have a number of different beers that I did not actually have a chance to partake in, but so far so good. This is great. And again, folks, if you're just joining in now or watching it on replay, this is Craft Beer Blab. Your co-host Jonah DiPasquale, which is myself. And normally this broadcast is hosted by Anello Grande. He's got some family things taken care of, so no worries. Life happens. It's all good. I also host a Blab on Thursday evenings, which is Bike Chat, and we're taking a little break through the holidays, so you may not find me, obviously, because that is New Year's Eve. I want to thank the folks that are hanging out tonight and joining me. Appreciate that. Thank you, Luke. Big shout out to Ryan C. Also, Kim Trumbo. And again, my good man, Salesi. And of course, myself as well. And again, normally you'll find this broadcast every Tuesday at 9 p.m. And again, I got some folks that if you're interested, there is a window open. Please feel free to jump in. Also, too, one of the other interesting things I want to point out is when you guys are trying different beers, believe it or not, a list works really well. With notes and things that remind you of the type. Well, first of all, not only the types of beers that you like, okay, but the beers that other people may recommend. In fact, I was when I was stopping in the store earlier today, it was pretty interesting. I actually saw an individual. He had this huge list of all these beers. It was hilarious. But I think the good thing is that, a lot of times, especially when you talk about craft beer, you walk in there and you feel like, a kid in a candy store. There's all these, fancy, flashy, creative, cool looking labels. No, absolutely. That is a great point. Excuse me, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan says I like the Untapped app. Yeah, the Untapped app is great, and I think that why the Untapped app is so good is that you can actually search beers. You can search locations, you can search where you can, where you can find the beer, and also too, if you've not tried a beer before, sometimes, in theory, there are some of your friends that may or may not have tried that beer, and usually if you know that person fairly well, you can probably gauge whether or not you want to like the beer. But I do agree with that. It's funny. I'm actually on Untapped, which is bizarre. At any rate, quick story is actually I did have it on my last phone that I owned, and for some really strange reason, I just didn't put it back on again. But it is interesting. I don't know, for some crazy reason I do need to put it back on there. But that's a great point. Untapped is a really good source. As I said, as far as websites, Beer Advocate is really good. Beer Advocate, I feel like is pretty unbiased. They do really give you some pretty good information. They have people rate the beers. They have people rank the beers. Also, to you, which is really cool, is you can actually search beers through different styles, which I think is really helpful. And a lot of times, I think the reality of it is, I think there's going to be beers that you will fall in love with and you like, and you'll be like, I'm all about this. And I think that without question, there's going to be beers that you're just like, I'm like totally good. For example, beers that I'm probably not a big fan of, back up, styles like ciders. Ciders I'm not a big fan of. I've tried pretty hard to even here in upstate New York, like Apple Country. I've tried a number of different ciders, and it's been okay. As I said, I think without question, it's probably an acquired taste. Sours, bitters, those kinds of things are not so much bitters, but there's a lot of those fruit style beers that I see. A lot of those craft beer houses that are starting to come to popularity. And again, it's interesting. I don't know about you, but I still have a hard time drawing that correlation. I've recently been getting into ghosts. Yeah. And again, that's the thing about, becoming, I don't know. I guess, just, I don't want to say connoisseur is really not the word. But I think just, again, really just having, I like to say, more of a broader spectrum, of taste. Cause I think it's like anything. It's like food. You got to try different foods and know that, those are some things that are. Social Brews in the house. Hey, Social Brew, give them a follow at Social Brew US. They are the craft beer social intelligence and influencer marketing tool. Very, very cool. Good to see those guys in the house. Jonah DiPasquale with you. Thank you so much for joining. I am the co-host at large. As I said, your host of The Most is off this evening. He's got some family things taken care of. Gunnar Soros, normally the host of Craft Beer Blab every Tuesday. As I said, Jonah DiPasquale with you. I had just poured a few minutes ago the Clown Shoes Brewing Galactica IPA. Very excited to find that out of Ipswich, Massachusetts. This is my cool little Grand Prix mug when I was the announcer for a Grand Prix mountain bike event up at Sugar Bush. Very cool. Still kind of a cool little mug. Like to. Very cool. Eric Smith in the house. Eric, thank you so much for joining in. Craft Beer Blab. Jonah DiPasquale with you. Hey, guys, don't forget, tell a bird, tweet this out, share with your friends and followers. And again, a little later coming up, I do have a nice treat. As I said, here's a nice little holiday find. I don't know if you folks do bourbon barrel aged, but Arrogant Bastard has got a nice little, I wouldn't say it's a limited edition, but I know there's a number of brewers or craft beer companies, I should say, that are doing a bourbon barrel, that are doing a bourbon barrel aged. That's the best. Yeah, that's the best version of Arrogant Bastard. Yeah, and I have to say to you that for me, I'm on the fence with bourbon barrel aged. I have to tell you, I heard a lot of hype about it. Big fan of Arrogant Bastard. I'll go on the record to say that they make great beer. I've had a number of their beers and do continually to enjoy consuming them. But I think, as I said, here let me just get to the point. I like bourbon. I don't mind bourbon. I'm a big bourbon fan. Number of different bourbons that I do enjoy. Maker's Mark, Buffalo Trace, and on and on and on. But yeah, not a huge fan of bourbon barreling. Love it. Yeah, see, that's a Ryan. That's a great point. And Ryan, I definitely want to bring up that point. And Social Brew, I don't know whether again, or you agree or disagree. For me, I feel like the bourbon barrel age really overpowers the beer. Again, having enjoyed a number of Arrogant Bastard selections, I find their beer to be fantastic without question. And again, I think that label. Appreciate they're trying some different things without it, though. I know. Yeah, no, agreed. I totally agree with that, and I believe that if I was to go on the record and say, am I grammatically incorrect? Would I be considered a bourbon barrel aged fan? Probably not. I would say to you, I find the bourbon cuts, the candy quality of originally. Yeah, I mean, it depends. As I said, my palate for bourbon barrel aged, it's very new. I've had a number of other bourbon barrel aged, and it's been okay. There's a Dogfish Head that I've tried that I found to be very good. And again, this particular bourbon barrel Arrogant, it's good. I like it. Again, it really hasn't grown on me, and I think to your point about it being kind of a select taste, I would imagine if I tried it again. I know sometimes we were talking about earlier, with IPAs, I know that a lot of times, when I have, friends of mine's over and they try IPAs, they just can't stand them. The new Stone Sierra collaboration is aged in gin barrels. Weird and delicious. Wow. Yeah, no, I'd have to check that out. I think I may be into that, but I don't know. Like, I feel like there's definitely an advantage there. I do believe without question it separates. I've not had it yet. Yeah, no, I know. It's good to know. But I think that's something that is certainly worthy. As I said, Jonah DiPasquale with you. Thank you so much for joining in. If you're just tuning in now, this is Craft Beer Blab, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, normally hosted by Gunnar Saros. As I said, he is not with us this evening, but we do wish him well and Happy New Year. Hopefully everything's all good with him. Had to jump in as co-host. Also, 2 Thursdays myself, I do host Bike Chat. It's every Thursday. This Thursday, though, don't forget, it is an off week because we've got the obviously the holiday coming up, the New Year celebration. Very excited about 2016. I don't know about you folks, but I am ready to put 2015 to bed. It has been an interesting season, to say the least. For example, I live here in upstate New York, and it has been an incredibly mild winter, to say the least. In fact, Christmas Eve, we had a record high temperature. I was out riding my bike in short sleeve shirts and bike shorts, which is just totally bizarre. So at any rate, so like I said, the seat is open. Anybody wants to jump in, I want to thank the folks for hanging tonight. Salasi is in the house. You give him a follow at Azrael13. Also Ryan C, my man at the helm. That is Canned Graham, or Candy Graham in theory. Also Luke, what's going on, News Junkie Ham, radio operator, Windsor, New York. And he's got a little link on there. And also to the folks from Social Brew, give them a follow at Social Brew US, the craft beer, social, intelligent, and influencer marketing tool. I love that. That is fantastic. So as I said, I don't know if any of you folks that are hanging out with me this evening are IPA fans. I am a huge IPA fan. Also, too, listen, if there are any favorite IPAs that you do have, please, in the messages down there, share them with me. I would love to put them on my list of new IPAs to try. One of the beautiful things about Craft Beer Blab is it has opened up the door, and we've met some incredibly awesome people, very well rounded and knowledgeable when it comes to craft food. IPAs still rule. Beer Republic, Racer 5 have had that. Love that. Yes. Agree. I'm gonna give you a little follow. I'm gonna give you a little star there. Yeah, Racer 5. That is Bear Republic. If you guys have not tried that, it's such a good beer. I had a good buddy of mine that turned me on to that a while ago, and oh my goodness, it's definitely good. I'm gonna put up the URL here in a couple seconds. One of the nice things about being able to do this, here we go, right here, Alexander Keith. Okay, not familiar with Alexander Keith, but let me. Are they no here? And here's the one thing that I want to point out is I'm located in upstate New York, and I don't know if I can get that. That's the problem. One of the lame things about do they even oh, here we go. They got like a weird it's keys.ka. Okay. Yeah, I'm jumping into their site right now here. Let's see here. Hang tight. Okay, yes, I've been born. Great. Where am I from? Okay, great. Whoa, sure. Enter. Okay. Alexander Keith, nice. I don't think this is something. I'm on their website right now, and I don't see. I actually, there's a place that I can actually check in on. Yeah. It is. It's Canadian. It's definitely Canadian. No, for sure. Yeah. No, if you follow that link, they find okay, here we go. Find an Alexander Keith. Yeah, I don't think there is. You know what? There's definitely not a distributor here in upstate New York, which is really sad. But tiny. Yeah, no, I think that's the other beauty of why we have this show is there's just there's beers that even for example with the host of the show there, Gunnar Soros, he's not able to get, like, for example, I had one of my go-tos has been Long Trail Ale Smash, and I don't know if you folks have tried that, but man, that is such an awesome beer. I do recommend that. But it is really good. So a couple of folks have thrown some things out there. It looks like Alex Keith, which is kind of nice. Also, too, Racer 5, which I'm like, if you've not tried Racer 5, that has got to be on your list of beers to give a taste. Again, my name is Joe DePasquale. If you're just watching this on replay, thank you so much. Don't forget, tell a friend, tweet this out, or you can share this out to Facebook. If you have any questions, it's /Q. Again, currently the beer that I'm enjoying is a Clown Shoes Brewing Galactica IPA. Very, very good beer. Found that, again, as I said, I'm a big IPA fan. I love it. It's got a really good flavor, not too piney, doesn't kick you in the face when you're drinking it, certainly drinks well. Again, you could, socially or whatever, definitely a really good brew to sit back and relax with, especially during the holidays. Man, that is fantastic. Yeah, Social Brew US. Yeah, absolutely. But you know the great point about clown shoes, as I said here in upstate New York, I first of all I was introduced to clown shoes by the host of the show, Gunner, and very excited about being able to find it. And one of the interesting things I say to you is that, well, you know, being a craft beer lover, it's you know it's like being you know going to like a craft like a hobby shop. You know, oh, do you have this specific model or this specific paint or whatever it is? And you know, man, when you find the right you know retailer or packaging store or whatever the terminology that you have, it can be as good as gold. And you know the funny thing is, I really am a huge advocate of the loyalty aspect. Like if you find you know somebody that is willing to you know stock the beers that you like, you know make it an effort to go out of your way and get your beers from them regularly or growlers or whatever, because I feel like you know that's what it's all about. I mean I know that for myself, you know, being a big cyclist, I mean supporting the local you know independent retailers is huge. Obviously the shop small thing, that's great. You know, I feel like that is always a plus. I mean, of course, you know may not necessarily be able to always find those beers, but that's a good thing. One of the other things too, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a number of supporting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, great point. Supporting local keeps breweries out of Budweiser's grasp. Yeah, that's a great point. And if you folks had watched last week's Craft Beer Blab, we actually did talk about that. I mean, it seems like a domino rally. For example, our last show, Social Brew, brought up a great point. Anheuser just went, you know, bonkers, mopping up some, you know, some of the you know craft brewery, craft beer companies out there. Breckenridge Brewery was a number of many of them. But you know, I think that one of the things I do want to point out to your comment is we did have a viewer, I think last week. I don't, was it Ryan? Was it you maybe? Yeah, maybe it was Ryan. I think Ryan maybe chimed in, was saying something to the effect about Breckenridge Brewing. It was kind of like, you know, waffling. And again, not necessarily on its way out, but, you know, as I said, being here, yeah, Ryan, I think it was you. Ryan brought up a good point and was commenting about Breckenridge Brewing and what we were trying to, you know, Gunnar and myself, you know, being here more secluded on the East Coast, we were just like, you know what, we had no idea, we had no clue. I mean, you know, again, number one, I'm, you know, in upstate New York, there's just, you know, the accessibility to Breckenridge Brewing is very minimal. So to me, it's a treat. But, you know, for example, to Ryan's point, who's in Colorado, you know, and again, I don't know if you folks are following, there is just, you know, I guess, you know, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like a mecca. You know, there's a lot of different microbreweries and, you know, I hate to say it, like bus stops, you know, there's one on every corner. They've just lost a bit of their edge as a leader in the small craft scene. Just something that, yeah, no, and I think that's a good point. And you know, one of the great things about Craft Beer Blab here is, you know, we try to embellish that. We try to get people to understand that, you know, there's a fine line. You know, I don't want to, you know, continually go down the magic hat route. But you know, again, if you folks have been following Craft Beer Blab and have been on, you know, the show, you know, a number of times, you know, my go-to is an example, you know, is Magic Hat. I can recall back in the day being a snowboarder, traveling up in New England and going to all these resorts and getting turned on to Magic Hat. You know, I was like, whoa, this is the greatest beer ever. And for me, you know, the beauty of it, gang, you know, was like, you know, I'm going to Vermont, it's awesome, New England, yip yip hooray, whatever, and I'm going to be able to enjoy this beer because I can't get it anywhere else. And then slowly but surely, you know, I noticed that the availability became, you know, more like I could go to, you know, a local corner store or wherever and find it. And obviously the rest of the story is, you know, they were absorbed, you know, and purchased, bought by, I think it was the I want to say the Boston Brewing Company, maybe, or the American Brewing Company. I don't quote me on that, but the reality of it is now Magic Hat is really just essentially mass produced. I mean, it's still good beer. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's not that same core craft beer that we like to talk about. And I think that's what a lot of us here battle with, is that everybody has their go-to beer, but what do you do, right, when all of a sudden your go-to beer is like, big box beer? I mean, that's a tough call. I think, again, have I turned my back on Magic Hat? Not really. I mean, do I go out of my way to try some of the newer stuff? I mean, not really. I think that, I feel like once craft beer, beer companies get to that point, all of a sudden it becomes a completely different paradigm focus of not the quality, but the quantity. Like, how many runs of this particular, brew can we get to make X amount of dollars? And I don't know. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the society today gets slightly jaded on what they consider craft beer, and audience. I would love to hear from you on this, because that's sort of my my gut feel. I know that a lot of times, most people are like, I'm a craft beer drinker, and meanwhile they like have no idea. I mean, again, I don't want to say that I slept at the Holiday Inn Express, but I mean, the reality of it is, I do enjoy good beer. I will go out of my way for it. And I also know that with quality comes a cost. I mean, you're talking about a completely different package price, versus the normal, a la carte, house fave, the Budweisers or whatever. Goose Island still makes some great innovative beer, even as a Bud brand. It depends on the original willingness to demand autonomy. Beer snobbery can cause people. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've had Goose Island. I do feel like, to your point, if somebody were to not know of their involvement, with the Bud brand, absolutely, I don't think that they would even be able to have that, initial initial thought process. But no, I would agree with that. I think Goose Island does offer, I believe, a good enough variety that they really can cater to the most discerning beer drinkers, I should say craft beer drinkers, and not really feel like it's, again, I hate to say, like, the sold out brand, but no, I mean, and not every brand will do that. And I think that's a great point about, the owners, in terms of, how much is enough tug and pull, when corporate America is tapping on your shoulders. I mean, I mean, gang, let's face it. I mean, money, money is the root of, root of a lot of evils. And there's certainly something to be said about, well, how much better off would you be if there were a few more zeros at the end of your paycheck? I mean, and not 0 0 0 0 is what I'm talking about. But I think that, that's a great point. Will a lot of the other companies that may potentially be absorbed by some of these powerhouses survive? I mean, it remains to be seen. And I think that the other thing too is, Social Brew, you guys bring up a good point, and I know, Ryan, you can agree or disagree, but I think a lot of I guess the make or break, or the do or die, is social media. I just, I really pay particular attention to what my friends are talking about, or people are tweeting about, or beers that people are spending the time to throw up in their Instagram profile or whatever. I mean, yeah, great. It's beer. Who cares? But I think that when I'm going to take a particular beer and throw it out there, in my social audience, I want to make sure that people are like, oh, great, he's drinking a PBR. Like, who gives a rat's ass? Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like like, if I get, okay, here we go. If I get, if I get a hold of, Dogfish had 120, yeah, to me, that's a big deal. I don't drink it that much. I do enjoy it. But as I said, if I put that out there, people are like, oh, cool, 120. And like, I don't know many people, unless my audience, you guys can agree or disagree, that have 120, just, bottles of 120, like hanging out in their, their beer cooler. So I think there's a lot to be said about that. But I think the beauty of where craft beer is going is that it's changing and evolving so much. And I know Ryan Canagram, as I said, living in Colorado, sees it pretty regularly. I do have a good friend of mine that is a consultant to a lot of these bootstrapping breweries, and he said, like, he's like, it's insane. I would say that the reality of what I can compare that to here in upstate New York would probably be these lame ass coffee shops that are everywhere. Well, we'll see what happens with Dogfish New York. Yeah. Again, point well taken. I mean, who knows? I think that if you look at to what you were saying about Goose Island, hopefully they hold ground. I don't know. I think that to your point about 120, I think that the likelihood of being able to, gosh, I hate to say this, mass produce beers like that, I think is going to be a challenge. For example, if you remember Sam Adams Triple Bock, back in the day, came in those, came in the little blue bottles. No, I agree. Yeah, social brew. I totally agree with you. It's one of those things that right. That's exactly to your point, and I agree with what you're saying. Is it's not something that can be mass produced, or I think what happens is, they try to do it, and I think that what ends up happening is some corners are cut, and the quality versus the original batching are just way off. And it's funny because well, simply put, Sam Adams Triple Bock just went away. I mean, it was such limited batches. Gang, I can tell you that I remember back in the day, paying $25 for like a little bottle of, like a little blue bottle of Sam Adams Triple Bock. I mean, the stuff was fantastic. I mean, you scratch your head and you're like, why in the world, am I paying $25 for this? But, the reality of it, it was incredibly tasty. It wasn't necessarily something that in one sitting you pounded to the face like it was your job. But, that's a, But I think the reality of where this whole conversation is going, I mean, it really is looking. I think that 40,000 foot view of where craft brewing is going, and I think that everybody is kind of chomping at the bit to bootstrap and get their blobbity microbrewery, and again, I think that for a lot of you folks where I'm kind of broadcasting this here in upstate New York, is we're definitely, without question, we are behind the times. I feel like we are starting to see that micro beer boom, I guess, if you will, the abundance of the newer breweries in the Finger Lakes region and things like that is definitely much more rampant than it has been in a number of years. I mean, there've been a few microbrews. Cooperstown, yeah, Cooperstown. Cooperstown is not too far from me. Yeah, I've been there. It's awesome. It definitely it's not very far from us. So yeah, no, I mean there's certainly some good beers in this region. Don't get me wrong. I just think that a lot of the comparison, from some other folks. In the house, Rush Miller Foundation. What is going on, man? When not snowboarding or flying choppers to save people's lives, and just so you know, there we go. There's the pour. Knew it. I was waiting for this moment. You guys remember last week's holiday whiskey? Again, a Blab. It was interesting. Imperial stouts. Everybody was crooked. I think I was I don't remember. Yeah, because that's like fantastic. So, hey, folks, if you're just tuning in now, thanks so much for joining Craft Beer Blab Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joe Pasquale with you, your co-host at large. Anello Grande's got some family stuff taking precedence, so he is not with us tonight. No worries. Wish him well and a happy new year. And hey, folks, don't forget, tell a bird, share this out, tell your followers on Facebook. As I said, Jonah DiPasquale. I am a cyclist, craft beer lover. I also run a Blab on Thursdays, bike chat. Again, this week we're going to be taking a break because of the holidays, but here we are getting all fired up and pumped. And I don't know about you, but aside of my awesome, again, Clown Shoes Galactica IPA, what are some of the things? And again, by this way, this seat's open, so if you guys want to jump in, anybody's feel free to do that. What are some things that people are looking for 2016? Like I know that for me, I'd like to definitely try a number of newer beer selections that I think I've kind of been holding off on, just to sort of broaden my palette of tastes. I don't know about you guys. What about again? If we got we still got, yeah. How about you, Ryan? How about you, my man? What are some things that you guys got going on? Anything particular? Or how about you, Luke? Or what about Social Brew? I'd be curious to hear. More guys? Yeah, sours. Nice. Yeah, sours. I definitely, Social Brew. I definitely agree with you. I know that was one of the things that Gunnar and I have talked about. In fact, I actually this evening I had a sour in my hand. I was going to try. So you definitely motivated me. Ghost for sure. Next week I'll be blabbing from Deschutes Brewery in Bend, Oregon. Nice. Hey, by the way, give Rush Miller Foundation a follow. Awesome. They do a lot of good. Yep, yeah, exactly. And as I said, doing some really good things as well. And folks, hey, don't forget, give everyone else a follow. It's kind of hanging out. And obviously, if everybody's in here this evening, certainly does mean that you guys share the same love of craft beer. Ryan C, Candy Graham, give him a follow. What is up to my man Luke? That is at VE3LDJ, news junkie and ham radio operator in Windsor, Ontario. Good to see him. And of course, our folks from Social Brew. It's at Social Brew US. They are the folks that are all about craft beers, social intelligence, and an influencer marketing tool. I love that. And again, there you have it. Rush Miller Foundation. They put blind kids' butts on tandem bikes. And Eric Miller coming in right now. We're going to welcome him to Craft Beer Chat. My man, good evening.
As always, excited to see you.
Got a volume?
You're not hearing me?
Hit refresh. Try to refresh. Okay, well, just refresh and come back in again. So, at any rate, what a rush, exactly. So yeah, I mean, again, as I said, those are some of the interesting things to try, different beers. Like I said, I think for me, it's a lot easier to be able to share, with a lot of the folks out here on Craft Beer Blab about the different styles of beers. I mean, it's definitely helped me to kind of jump out of my shell and try different beers. And, of course, IPAs is huge. Let's see here. What's going on? Who's this? Yeah, Luke, how about you, my man? What's your, you're right up there. You're not too far from Rochester. Ooh, man, that's fantastic. Love me some IPA. Hey, by the way, as I said, don't hesitate to give me a follow on Twitter. It's at Jonah DiPasquale. At the Hoggle was one of my older Twitter accounts. I've actually changed it. I'm in the process of switching that over. It's a whole nother story. But I also, you can also find me on Periscope. I scope about cycling and cycling tips and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's always good to connect with people on different platforms. But as I said, I don't know. We normally, by the way, in Craft Beer Blab, we have a hop topic. Last week's hop topic was kind of the Anheuser-Busch buyout, which was pretty crazy. I know Social Brew was kind of mentioning it. Excuse me, a few minutes ago, but It certainly is more and more alarming. But, I think the other thing, too, is that, it's like anything. I know that a lot of retailers, are being forced to, kind of have that, like, that hip craft beer selection. And, I think, I don't know about you, but I think the word craft beer is become, somewhat of an oxymoron. And I think that, it's like, I think the beers that people, i.e. retailers, are kind of, pigeonholing into that descriptor is questionable. Now, not a lot of people are going to agree. A lot of people are going to disagree. Again, we all have different palates. I totally get that. But I think the crazy part about it is, we have to kind of, know at the end of the day, okay, what is craft beer? What is not craft beer as well? Yeah, no, that's great. Under 6 million barrels per year equals craft beer. Now that's a great point. I definitely social brew. That is a great point. Let's get Eric back in here again.
Yo, man, how's that? Is it working?
Come on.
No.
What are you doing?
Working now? Does it work without it?
I can't hear you. You can hear him? I can't hear him. All right. Hold on. Let me refresh. Hang on a second. 1 second. Let me refresh.
All right. I'm taking over this Blab. He's out. Okay. What do you guys want to do? Let's get this party started. Was anybody here last week when I was in the whiskey bar?
Go. I cannot. What? I'm at full volume. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got it. It was me. What are you chomping on there, homeboy?
Popcorn. I'm at work.
It. Nice. I got to behave tonight. Eric Miller, flight nurse.
You can call me Fokker if you want to. Make sure you pronounce it correctly.
Small T, yeah, and piss.
That's a cool job if somebody's got to do it. So seriously, Social Brew. I followed you. I think I was already following almost everybody in here. I was looking for Tommy's. It took me a while to reset. I was looking for Tommy, the Hoosier.
Tommy Crowder. Don't know. What's
his thing? We can conjure him.
It's Tommy. Here, I'll do here. Idiots. Ready?
Anyway, Social Brew. What we talked about last week, while I was getting drunk at the.
It didn't happen
at the whiskey bar. God dang! I should have ate before I went in there and started drinking like that. That was a great night.
Seriously,
let's get an app for a beer exchange, a craft beer exchange. Is there one, or does anybody know of one? So if you
an app. No, I don't know of an app, but if you recall, Adam from Arrowbackers, I think that they were one of our hosts on Craft Beer Blab a while back. I don't know. Yeah, no. See, Social Brew is not one for exchange yet.
Let's do it. I mean, what are we waiting for? Why not make our habit into our? Anyway. So next week, tomorrow I leave for Bend, Oregon.
Nice.
So next Tuesday, I will try to be at Deschutes Brewery and put on a special show for you guys again.
Nice. That face is. Hey, do me a favor. Hit me up offline. I got a good buddy of mine. I'll connect up with you that lives in Bend, Oregon as well. Is a good buddy of mine. Folks, Jonah DiPasquale with you, co-hosting. The host at large off tonight. He's getting prepped up for the 2016 celebration. That's Gunnar Soros. As I said, Craft Beer Blab every Tuesday. It is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jonah DiPasquale in the house. Thank you so much. I want to give a roundhouse shout out to Rad Ice Noggle. What's going on? A birder, a hiker, photographer, business owner from the mountains, of course, myself, the man at large at Rush Miller Foundation, Eric Miller. Great to see you. Helicopter pilot, nurse extraordinaire, and our good friend.
I'm not a pilot. I'm just baggage in the back. I'm not a pilot.
That's all good. You pilot here, you pilot there.
Call me a pilot, and if that turns chicks on, just like that girl that gets horny from this Hey, whatever it takes.
It happens. Thanks so much to our good friend Luke, and of course, Candygram Ryan from Colorado. You have the suit. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean.
So, folks, earlier on, again, Eric, I had the opportunity to do a pour, a very good pour, by the way. So my audience can back me up on this. Didn't get the massive head.
And
This
Clown Shoes Galactic.
Yeah, this is Clown Shoes Brewing. They're out of Ipswich, Massachusetts. Very good brew. Actually, Gunnar had turned me onto those guys, and I was really excited. Went to the store, was like, "Booyah! Here it is, we got it." But the real treat. Now I know you're gonna get all fired up in your knickers. Here's the real treat. Here, this is a bourbon barrel, arrogant bastard, and I normally do not. Excuse me. I normally do not drink bourbon barrel aged beers. I'm a big bourbon fan. I know we've had this conversation last week. I think we need to continue on the whiskey bourbon blabs, which was quite fun. At any rate, that's a whole nother conversation. But I know Social Brew was talking about again. They were a big fan of the bourbon barrel aged beers. I mean, myself. It's kind of growing on me. I mean, initially I was sort of like, it didn't really work. But let's kind of give this.
I haven't had one yet. Although my buddy who has the brewery up in Denver, he was looking for some barrels. Let's see the pour. Put it up here so we can see the pour. Since you had a little bit of trouble last, okay, better. Oh,
shut up. Shut up.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, if you think that was a bad pour, then give me the props. If it was a good pour, give him the props. I don't know what to say there. Yeah, thank you. Last week you should have seen the
whatever. Jeez, guys.
Dude, I had to personal message you on Twitter because
I know.
That was was that recorded? Because if that was recorded last week, yes. Thanks, Ryan. Hey, Ryan, what's up, buddy?
Hey, oh my God, he's gonna run me over the mill too. Ryan was here.
Yeah, hey, Ryan, you were here.
Just so you know, for the record, that's why I'm the co-host of this show, Eric. So you just stop it,
dude.
What's going on, Ryan?
Well, first thing that you said when I came on here is that you had just had an excellent pour. And we can go back in the recording if you'd like.
Come on,
you were bragging about this pour, and then you had this second pour, and
God. I think your earbuds are messed up. I'm pretty sure they are. Ryan, I know. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing, man? Good to see you, man. Thanks.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I had to jump in and comment on that pour, but
thank you. maybe you should have a craft pour, Blab.
Definitely.
I brought something to pour as well. Talking about shoots. One of my all-time favorites.
All right.
They're fresh squeezed. So when you're up there, tell them this beer.
Actually, maybe I should take some. Maybe I should take some orders and start our craft beer exchange, and I'll just buy like a bunch of 4 or 6 packs, and then we can all send a bottle, but everybody has to send a bottle in exchange.
That sounds good. I'm down for that.
So, we can do that on the. I don't know if they let me back on this thing next week. I was surprised that he let me back in after the fiasco of a.
Seriously.
And to join Jonah, I'm pouring it in my arrogant bastard.
Nice.
So back to the whiskey barrel thing. So I go to a coffee shop when I get off in the morning, and they had coffee aged in a whiskey barrel and then roasted. And it has a bourbon flavor to it. It's really interesting tasting.
Well, I don't, again, as I said, I mean, aside of the haphazard pour, I don't mind bourbon. I like bourbon. I drink bourbon, straight, rocks, mixed, whatever. I think as we've kind of talked from the start of this blab, I mean, these are the types of styles of craft beer, without question, they're an acquired taste. I mean, again, beer's one thing, awesome, I get it. Bourbon's one thing, I get it. But when you mix the two, I think Social Brew, had mentioned it earlier. I mean, they were all about it with that, like, they quote unquote candy flavor. I mean, initially for me, again, I am an Arrogant Bastard fan. I think the beers are fantastic. This beer for me was one of those holiday treats. I was like, okay, great, it's the holidays. I'll give it a shot. The first couple sips, it's kind of like, whoa. I felt I felt like really the bourbon was overpowering the beer.
It's kind of like when the chocolate bar fell into the peanut butter the first time. Right? I think I saw that on the commercial. It's just, you wouldn't think that they mix, but they mix great.
Yeah, all kinds of different barrelings going on. Last week I was drinking that Mercenary IPA from Odell.
There he is, Tommy Crowder's in the house. Uh-oh. Trouble. So Ryan, before things completely become unhinged, tell us about your pour here, poor guy. He's like trying to show us his pour.
Show us the pour. Show us how to pour. All right.
It's photoshopped. It's photoshopped.
There we go.
Yeah, I think everybody ought to be given some props there. Let's get him into triple figures, because that was how you pour, and that's that's how you become a co-host here.
I think ours are hard to pour into. I'll give them a mulligan on it.
So you're right. There you go. Come on. Yeah, right. Come on, Eric. You watching that? Look at this. You got this right here. Come on.
Yeah, I got my phone. So what other barrels though? So if people are doing whiskey barrels, what other barrels?
I was just going to talk about that Mercenary that I had last week. There's a relatively new. It's been out for several months, but they've done it in tequila barrels, Jose Cuervo barrels.
And who's that?
Odell's Mercenary IPA. Odell from Fort Collins.
Look at Social Brew says wine, gin, tequila, and scotch. Booyah! I would actually like a list of those companies. Man, I would imagine that probably the beer that is brewed in tequila has got to be freaking fantastic.
Yeah, if you can get Odell, do you get any Odell beers where you are? Maybe that I should have that for the.
I'll be up by there in 2 weeks.
Is it
2.5 weeks?
Okay. Odell. Odell.
Yes.
I'm actually OD. That is fantastic. That is good to know. Odell Brewing. Love it.
It's their Mercenary, their IPA, and they age it in Jose Cuervo bottles. Really good.
That's Fort Collins. See, no wonder.
I have another one to Cheyenne in 2 weeks, so I could stop by Fort Collins. Or actually, my buddy that I've got to meet in Cheyenne is from Fort Collins. I could have him pick up a bunch, and then I'll ship it out to everybody. But I need everybody shipping me beer.
Yeah.
Well, we did. Yeah, we did actually. And again, unofficially, Gunner and I did. We've got a little bit of a beer exchange. He actually sent me some stuff from Surly. And I've got a care package headed his way from Rochester for some beers that he's not able to get. But I think Eric, you bring up a good point. Ryan, you bring up a great point. And again, this is sort of us kind of taking the reins and doing exactly that. I think it's almost like, I don't know if you guys have ever been part of like a dinner club, or hey, you buy me lunch, I'll buy you lunch, whatever. I think it's the exact same thing. I think it does make it a lot more interesting and a lot easier. Nice. We're doing a Saison in Chardonnay barrels. Nice.
Star.
Fantastic. Rad-lice. Good stuff, man. Wow, that Saison. Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent. Really good stuff. Ryan, thanks so much for tuning in and sharing. That is a really good pour. Now, what other beers do they offer other than
Odell?
Yeah.
Oh, they have tons of stuff. I see you just linked there.
Yeah, I'm on their site now.
Their site. Really great brewery. It's one of my favorites in Fort Collins. It might be my favorite from Fort Collins.
I forget, Ryan, are you in Fort Collins or Denver?
I'm in Denver. And Fort Collins is just a mecca of great breweries. New Belgium, Odell, so many great breweries.
Yeah, it's got where you can buy it too, in Fort Collins.
Yeah, I just saw one the other day at a bottle shop right near me, so I can pick it up, and if we're doing the exchange and that's something you guys want, I can definitely pick it up for you.
Yeah, nice. Have you, Ryan, I don't know, have you heard we were talking about Adam from Barrel Backers a while back? An interview with those guys a while ago. They do something that's very similar like that. As I said, it's kind of the same conversation, but I don't know. To your point, is a lot of times some of the beers that we're talking about aren't necessarily available. So that's sort of like it's a pro and con, and in the way that their system works is you actually put you'll put a beer on a suggested beer on their site, and then what they'll do is they'll end up like recommending it, and then they'll make it available for distribution, which is interesting. But I think to your point earlier, I don't think I think it's pretty easy for us to just say, hey, Eric's like, I got some brews, I'll send you some brews, and you're like, hey, that's fine. I mean, obviously, if we know who we're talking to, you don't get a can of case of Yoo-Hoo or something like that.
Well, I mean, the first time somebody doesn't send you something back, they're off your list, right?
Yeah.
No, seriously.
It'd be cool if there was like a site that like managed.
Right.
All
no,
that.
I think it'd be very easy to set up a site based on a template that says, okay, I'm Eric. I like these types of beers, and
I wonder if there's laws that prohibit that kind of thing from happening, though.
No, well, it's kind of like Uber, right? It's peer to peer. It's not, you obviously don't want to get into sending, 15-year-olds beer or something. So there'd have to be some kind of vetting process. But
yeah.
This Lolo Peak Brewing, are you in Lolo, Montana?
I'm actually checking.
I pulled up the Lolo.
Yeah, I'm pulling it right now. I'm pulling it up right now as well.
And I'm wondering which beer is the one in the Saison. I don't see a Saison on there.
I'll check this out. Never heard of him.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yet to be released. Got it. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, nice.
Guy.
Yeah, Rad Lice, yeah, definitely jump in. I mean, that would be a good topic, as I said, to talk about, and that's kind of the beauty of the beast here at Craft Beer Blab. I mean, I'm all about it. I definitely like trying and learning about different craft beers, and as I said, the beauty of living in upstate New York is we're a little bit of a bubble in terms of not really having access to a lot of these different craft beer companies, and it's nice to really be able to talk to a lot of folks here, especially aside of criticizing how poorly I am at being able to put beer into a container, aside of the fact that, thank you, Ryan, for backing me up, that it is a jug handle. Eric, have you poured beer into one of these, by the way? Have you poured beer into one of these? Come on.
Okay, whatever. When I go to take care of a patient, and if they don't survive, and I say, "Look, I'm sorry, it's bad pour. It's a bad pour. Sorry, wrong medication. Sorry. Listen, it's not. I'm not saying that your pours a life depends on it, but
dude, if you can't log in next week, man, you'll know exactly what the problem.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to be. I know that I'm always walking kind of a fine tightrope here, because this is not my blab, but I could be your on-the-scene reporter.
Oh, without question. And then there's Ryan.
Perhaps Ryan and I should do some Colorado craft beer places on Tuesday nights. I work a lot, but I'm only here for I've only got another month and a half, and I'm gone for 3 months. So, serving your freedoms, you can salute Captain Miller if you'd like. Stand Jonah. But thank you. Actually, hopefully I'll be seeing Tommy. I'll be back in the Midwest for a little bit.
What happened to Crowder? Where'd he go, man? He chimed in for a bit. I gotta freaking.
A lot of times he has.
He's a slacker.
Well, he has bad internet if he's on the road.
Yeah, or he's freaking vaping. He's too busy. Poor guy. He's probably watching this right now. He's like, you guys.
I don't see. Oh, he might be the +1. So
I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna text his ass right now. I'm gonna figure out where
I just tried to conjure him there. And the other thing, I'm being conjured
Did
into
he?
another blab right now as we speak that I told somebody they had to do tonight. But
What is it?
yeah,
What is it? We'll jump. We'll do a blab
it's
jump.
Leanne Isaacson, and she is the most well, you've met Leanne. She was on the blab last week. She is the most connected woman.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Okay.
LinkedIn. She's got over 28,000 connections on LinkedIn. She's starting her LinkedIn mastermind. She's really, really awesome. And so she's basically putting her product out to the world. And I told her, you need to be on Periscope tonight. You need to be on Blab tonight. So she's just starting her Blab now, and she's conjuring me to come over to it. And I probably should. Plus, I should get out of the room because I've taken up too much of your guys' Blab time. But
not at all. It's all good. Great
all
to
these
have
guys
you. Great
popping in. It seems like I'm already following everybody. I must be following everybody on Blab.
A team, man. The A team. What can I say?
Ryan, you and I'm back in a week, and before I leave in late February, we should try to do a get together on a Tuesday night and see if we can. Yeah. Oh, my buddy owns Blue Spruce Brewery down in right off of County Line Road.
Oh, okay.
County Line and 470 or whatever, E470.
Centennial area. All right.
Yeah, Centennial area. So he owns that. Maybe we can do a blab from there, and he'll give us a tour.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hey, good to see you guys.
All right. Happy New Year, man. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it.
Hey, Happy New Year to you, too.
Okay. All right. Ryan, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Always good to have you on Craft Beer Blab. Yeah, Gunnar had some family things going on, gave me a shout and said, hey, look, not for nothing. Got to help me out. That's what being a co-host is all about. But what's been going on, man? How was your Christmas? Anything good going on?
Good.
Chilling?
Visited Ohio. I was there for the weekend.
Oh, nice. You were kind of sort of in my hood in theory.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's where I'm originally from. So.
Okay. Yeah, you were saying
there.
Nice.
And a few weeks ago here in Denver, to get back on beer, I went to a Denver Beer Festivus celebration.
Nice.
It was at the Wings Over the Rockies. I'll post a link here. Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum here in Denver.
Ooh, nice.
Really cool beer festival. It was at this underneath these planes they had set up in this giant hangar, and they
nice.
had a ton of different. They had about 45 different local Denver breweries doing pours. And just a really cool beer festival. One of the best ones I've ever been to.
Nice.
Nice. And they even had a little rare beer VIP section that you could get up to that was on a little catwalk above the rest of the planes and everything. Really cool. I liked it a lot. Nice.
Yeah, it's always good to be part of that kind of activity. And I tell you what, it's always good. You know, you got stuff to take home and talk about. That's fantastic. Any plans for the New Year's? I mean, I don't really have much going. I hate to be lame, but of all people, it's like we're not really going to do a lot of anything. It's been a crazy year. I mean, I think for 2015, we're just going to be like, let it chill, and bring it on. So
yeah, not a whole lot going on. Just going to start getting into snowboarding a lot.
Nice.
And see what else pops up. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, listen. Let me take this offline. Jonah DiPasquale, Craft Beer Blab, wrapping things up, folks. That ends 2015. We are going to hopefully be bringing in 2016 with a roar. It's always a pleasure to have you folks tuning in. If you're just watching this on replay, my name is Jonah DiPasquale, the co-host of Craft Beer Blab every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gunnar Soros has some personal family things going on, so he's not with us tonight. We wish him well. Give him a follow at Anello Grande. As I said, I'd like to thank the folks that are kind of hanging out. Ryan C., Candy Graham in the house. Good to see you as always. And Selassie for hanging in the background there. Also, thank you, Jazzy Chanel, for joining in. Again, Rush Miller Foundation, Tommy Crowder for a brief moment to stop in. Social Brew, as well as the few others that were watching online. Thank you so much for your time. Again, every Tuesday, please be sure to catch us. Thank you so much for your time.